I'm not making any money. This is for educational purposes only. Fair use. Fair use. Yeah, Brakatha Yahweh. Brakatha Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Chodash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To your sisters, your Achwathiim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson. Yeah, so it's this was I was just kind of scrolling and bumped into this thing. It says why are black people or blacks, which that's a derogatory term. We're not black. That's just stupid. Don't make sense. You're brown, right? Are not scared of segregation, right?
You can find it on Politico, not political, but politico.com. You can find it on usnews.com and etc. Now, this is coming directly from the article, okay? Let's read. Segregated facilities could make a comeback as Trump's administration lifts discrimination ban on federal contracts. According to a public memo from General Services Administration, the GSA, the federal government will no longer prohibit contractors from having segregated waiting rooms, restaurants, and water fountains in order to secure government contracts. The memo reportedly states when issuing new solicitations or contracts, do not include any of the following provisions or clauses: the prohibition of segregated facilities. This move aligns with President Trump's broader executive order to repel diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) initiatives within the government and across the country. Games, we can play them games. And like always, go and fact check this. You can find it on ABC News. You can find it on Politico, not political, but politico.com. You can find it on usnews.com and etc. Now, this is coming directly from the article, okay? Let's read. Segregated facilities could make a comeback as Trump's administration lifts discrimination ban on federal contracts. According to a public memo from General Services Administration, the GSA, the federal government will no longer prohibit contractors from having segregated waiting rooms, restaurants, and water fountains in order to secure government contracts. The memo reportedly states when issuing new solicitations or contracts, do not include any of the following provisions or clauses: the prohibition of segregated facilities. This move aligns with President Trump's broader executive order to repel diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) initiatives within the government and across the country. Now companies will have more leeway to decide whether or not to have segregated facilities, which include restrooms, restaurants, waiting areas, parking lots, and locker rooms. And like I said in the last video.
So I had some white colleagues ask me what I thought about Trump actually segregating whites and blacks. And I actually told them straight up, like, honestly, I would love that. Now, they looked at me like I was crazy, and they almost spit up their almond milk. And I think they thought that maybe I was saying that out of hatred. But it really isn't about hatred. Here's the thing. I'm not talking about their version of segregation. See, I'm talking about our version of righteous separation, spiritual sovereignty, and black sufficiency. See, the truth of...
Right, right? Because what the Lord created separation, right? And that's what the Lord was doing when he delivered us out of Egypt. Like she said, righteous, spiritual connection, so we connect to our power. Separation leaves us better connected to our power, right? Ultimately, we've already been doing that, which being those of the household of faith, the household of mourning, those of the hopeful elect. We've already been separated from this world, right? But this will get, some of you Jakes in the right mindset, because, hey, harsh times are about to come,
It is that integration was never about freedom. It was finesse. It was a system's way of saying, let's stop them from succeeding independently so we can profit from their brilliance directly. It was about control. And so I want us to be very clear about this. We were never separate but equal. So that's a lie. We were separate and excelling. We had our own schools, we had our own banks, we had our own businesses, and baby, we were thriving. Black Wall Street, they burned it. Rosewood, they bombed it.
She had that backwards. Black Wall Street, they bombed it. Rosewood, they burned it. You had that backwards, sis. But, yeah, whatever.
They overthrew it. Why? Because we were doing too well without them, and they couldn't handle that. And so that's the truth. They didn't really want segregation gone. They wanted control. This is why we know that integration was just repackage of chains. When we were separate, we actually were building and excelling. And when they saw that we could excel without them, then it was like, oh no, we got to take control and make sure that their labor is profiting us. So right around that time, they rolled out this whole standardized testing, ACT and SAT. Y'all remember that? They created this IQ ranking to measure their norms, not our brilliance. And then we were said we were behind when we really weren't. We were just building our own lane, not asking for theirs. See, I don't know about you all, but I'm kind of tired of the lies. It's very exhausting, just the lies that continue to be promoted. And I want to talk about the melanin, because this whole thing that we're not smart enough, that we're not bright enough, is simply just a lie. And so, all this testing that they're doing, and I have kids in school, and they're made to feel that they cannot achieve. And I have to remind them about their actual superpower, melanin. See, not just your skin tone, but in your brain, specifically neuromelanin, that rich dark pigment found in areas like the substantia nigra, which are critical for learning and memory and decision making and emotional regulation. See, if you don't know, then you won't know how to respond. But when you learn about the studies that have actually linked the neuromelanin to higher concentrations and how it's related to enhanced memory and processing and higher intelligence and faster reaction times, then you know why they have hidden this information for so long. Because when you have higher melanin, you have stronger brain resilience against degenerative diseases. So translation.
Segregation. We need segregation to learn a lesson. There are far too many white people who think like, oh, it's okay, we roll back DEI. Everybody will be fine. Like, I see that you're cool. You see that I'm cool. No. And thanks to the Trump administration, they've rolled back a lot of segregation laws. So, not that they ever tore down the original separate water fountains. They're just going to put the sign up once again that says blacks only. There are a lot of people who think if segregation comes back, it will be to their advantage. It will be to such the disadvantage of white population. And frankly, I think it's going to be good. There was a white woman who went into some bar the other day and she filmed it. Wearing a MAGA hat, she walked into a bar and automatically the owner of the bar was like, get the out of my bar. You can't deny me service. No, your kind went to the Supreme Court to ensure that I can deny you service. Your beliefs are not my beliefs. Get the hell out of my bar. But I voted for MAGA and I'm white. You can't deny me. Yeah, we can. Yeah, we absolutely can. And she's filming it. And you can almost hear in her voice, she's absolutely sure she's going to post this video and she's going to become instantly famous. How dare this bar deny her? And instead the comments were like, know your place. That is not your space. The last time there was segregation Minorities couldn't go into white spaces, but white people went into minority spaces. There's always some stereotypical photo of like some socialite from Fifth Avenue up in the Harlem in the jazz clubs being like, oh, I'm mixing with the cool people and smoking the funny cigarettes. And then, inevitably she marries a Vanderbilt and, settles down and remembers her side of the town. I think if this time segregation comes back, segregation should be to keep the white people out. It would be good for minority culture, but it would be outstanding for white culture to finally understand, really get the point. No, we're gatekeeping. Hairstyles and food and flavor and music and culture, all of this is ours. Not for you. Kardashians can't no, these are Albanian box braids. It's our culture. It is not, frankly. As much as it will not benefit me, I think it would be to the benefit of white people to feel segregation, to go through segregation for, let's start with 300 years. That seems like the right number. Then we'll check in to see how they're doing and maybe start some other new version, DEI 2.0. As a matter of fact, in white culture, white women should probably make their own group too. There can be MAGA, white women, minority, separate, not equal, and definitely learning some lessons. Grow with love. As we're definitely in this phase that until it affects me, I don't care about it, but that's short term. Because, you give me back my Social Security, I'm no longer interested in everybody else's struggle. To long term deny white people everything they feel entitled to, I think it's long past time for that lesson to be taught. And yeah, it's gonna be super hard keeping white people out. You saw how many struggled with the blue bracelet idea. I admit I'm not gonna like it, but I think it would be to the benefit of all. Nobody is coming to save us. And I don't think I can say that enough because I keep on seeing it in my comments and I keep on seeing other videos why can't Sweden come save us? One, America has greatly overestimated how much the rest of the world likes them. America is the friend in the friend group that everybody wants to drop but can't seem to get rid of. Either because, we have the cool lake house or the hot brother, but as soon as the thing we have is no longer necessary, we're out. Everybody shit talks us 24/7. We are 99.9% of the reason the rest of the friends group has a toxic relationship, because if we were just removed from the dynamic, they'd all be fine. There's this well, why can't Sweden come save us? Why would Sweden? Do you actually think they like us? We're rude and self-centered and half the reason for the decay and erosion of society. Most of the rules the rest of the world sets up is to handle the shit we dump on them. We give them social media. They teach their kids how to spot fake shit on the internet. We take away laws that put up a barrier. They are busy trying to figure out how they're going to regulate AI. We've taken all the rules off of AI and just said, you know what? If killer robots happen, that's an acceptable risk. The rest of the world teaches classes on deepfakes. There are people who are convinced that Trump's Gaza video is real. We're the stupid friend. We're the one that when you go out, everybody's like, oh my God, you gotta watch America. They're gonna do stupid shit tonight. The expectation that a country is going to step in to save us, they're gonna see us, they're gonna see Trump not listening to the rules and that they're gonna step in. That's the Trump family business. Not playing by the rules is the only thing the Grump family line is good at. Donald Trump would rather spend 10 years burning his hemorrhoids on a chair in a courtroom so he doesn't have to pay his contractors, his workers, his anything. To him, it's worth it. He would rather die than cut a check fairly to anybody. Chuck Schumer, may he burn in hell, is currently pushing his autobiography in which they were like, well, we just assumed the Republicans would wake up and fix their own problem. We teed it up. Here's an impeachment. And then, the Republicans refused to hit the wiffle ball. Everybody is sitting around waiting for somebody else to fix the problem. And the closest we came is the guy who resulted in Trump wearing a maxi pad on his head for a few days. For any country to try to step in and help us would be declaring war. Why would they do that? For the first time in about 100 years, they can get America out of their business. They can get America's bases off their country's soil, and they would no longer have to play friends with the friend in the friend group that they don't want there anyway. There's no
What's so interesting about it is that we're supposed to be looking at this as if it's something negative. But why is it negative when every other cultural group does this? Group economics. See, the truth of the matter is they have stolen from us so many different things, and yet we still survive. And so I don't want to offend, but I have to be blunt here. When we invented it, they patented it. When we built it, they banked on it. So everything we created, they made sure they benefited off of it. Just like Louis Latimer, he actually developed the light bulb, but Edison got all the glory for it. And this has been going on through history. We know that Granville T. Woods laid the foundation for trains. Corporations got the contracts. Dr. Patricia Bath revolutionized eye surgery. The system licensed the tech. Black music became white record labels, billion-dollar industries off of our talent. Every time we create, they capitalize. We are the genius, but they control the royalties. It's quite interesting, isn't it? So when we talk about the facts and segregation, I want to be very clear. It's not racist. We have to understand the dynamics of this. See, the black dollar actually is the fastest running dollar in America. So let's do the math here. And I think it's quite funny. Black people have spending power over 1.6 trillion. But guess what? That dollar stays in our community just for 6 hours, while the white community, their dollar stays in their community 17 days. And guess what? Asian communities, it stays in their community 20 days. Jewish communities over 3 weeks. Why? Because we're systemically disarmed from owning what we build. And this is no coinky dink. The scripture said this would happen. So now our dollar does the labor, but the system collects the check. And this is why I support segregation on our own terms. See, that 400 years of slavery is over. And when I say that I want us to be segregated, I don't mean oppress, I mean organize. Let's build black banks again. Let's educate our babies on the truth, not whitewashed lies. And let's support black farmers, black techs, black healing, black brilliance. And no, it doesn't mean I hate white people. No, it means I finally love us enough to stop begging for scraps from a table we built but never welcome to. See, the Bible told us about this, yet we hop, skip, and jump over the fact that Deuteronomy 28, 43, and 44 already said it. It says, the stranger shall rise above you high, and you shall come down low. They shall lend to you, but you shall not lend to them. And this is exactly what has been happening for 400 years plus years. We built houses, businesses, schools, and they took them and taxed them to death. But beloved, there's hope, because Deuteronomy 30 and 3 also says, and Yah will turn your captivity and have compassion upon you, and will return and gather you from all nations. So yes, I welcome segregation, because restoration is already in motion. And I want y'all to understand this. We are not asking for more, we're building. See, we were never given anything from you all. I'm not asking to sit at somebody's table anymore. See, I'm trying to go along with scripture and build my people, gather my people, not because they are more melanated, but because we need to know that we serve the Most High and that He's going to take care of us, because separation was never our curse. It was our covenant. And now it's our strategy. It says to come out from among them, be ye separated. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17. So this isn't about racism. It's about us reclaiming.
Yeah, so this is 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 15. But as He which have called you is holy, be ye holy in all manner of conversation. Right. Yeah, so yeah, basically, I mean, that's self-explanatory, right? And then even basically, I believe there's a scripture that talks about their continence bearing them witness. You know what I mean? Even the way you talk, you know, it says that you should know a man by his gait, by the way he walk. So you got to watch how you hold yourself within, your private life and public life. You know what I mean? And then you got to watch your words. In prayer and in deed, you have to have a holy or more of a separate conversation, right? With the Lord, with your wife, with your children, with the brothers, man. You got to have a different and holy type of conversation, right? It says, because it is written, be ye holy, for I am holy, right? The Father, Yahweh, right, is holy. Yahweh Shai said himself that he could do nothing but what he's seen the Father do, and he only says what the Father says, right? So I mean, he's in that stead. In order for you to be Hamashiach like, right, you would have to come in that stead, right? Which is also what kind of the same thing anyway, right? What we're doing anyway, separating, because that's what the brothers is doing from the world. 2/3. You're talking about a segregation. Well, the spirit is already segregated the world from the elect. The elect is already segregated, right? Matter of fact, it tells you about that when it gives you the parable of the rich man and Lazarus, right? He said that there was a great gulf fixed. So there's already a separation spiritually, right? Before you do physical segregation, we have separated from this world, right? And it says, and if ye call on the Father, which is the Most High Yahweh, right? Through his only begotten Son, which is his name is Yahweh Shai, right? Not JC, who without respect of person judgeth according to every man's work, pass the time of your sojourning here in fear, right? Because what this is what we're just passing through in this, because this world is not our world. This is Esau's world. So we're just sojourning. We're just passing through this world, right? Yeah. So this is John chapter 17, verse 16. It says, they are not of the world, right? Which is Yahweh Shai having a prayer to the Most High, speaking of the elect, right? And the elect, they are not of the world, right there. That's already a segregation, spiritual segregation, right? So being those that were called, right? Many are called, few are chosen, but those that are called out there on the highways and the byways, we have already been segregated, right? It says, they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. See, so Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls JC, is not of the world, and neither shall the elect be that, right? The hopeful elect. They're not going to be of the world, right? Sanctify them, right? Cleanse them, right? And that in itself is segregation. Sanctify them, cleanse them through the truth, right? Which is what? The scriptures, right? The precepts, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Thy word is truth, right? And the truth are we are the Hebrew Israelites, man. The truth is the Lord bounced us as a ball, right? To a great land to be put in cargo slave ships, as Deuteronomy 28 states, that you will go into slavery again with ships, and that's the truth. But it gets deeper than that, because what? Esau is the end of the world, right? Because the earth, Job 9:24, the earth is given to the hands of the wicked, right? And the wicked is ruling. So Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. There's already a spiritual separation. There's already segregation. But yeah, that could help a lot of our people, instead of unaliving each other. This thing is going to be hey, the Lord's going to use Esau to unite you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. But also it's going to what? Divide, because that's the time Yahweh Shai is returning. Is also the time of a great division, right? Because it tells you about how Ephraim and Manasseh will continue the hatred against Judah, roughly paraphrasing. But it's also going to unite you on one front and then separate you on another front. And unite these Edomites on one front, but then separate them on another, right? Yeah. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 31. I'm going to do the Amplified version. And those who use the world taking advantage of its opportunities as though they did not make full use of it. Right? Yeah, because everything is precious time, you have to make the best of the time and the things that you're here, anything that you're doing, whether it's it's doing the work, going out on the highways and the byways, doing lessons, digital epistles. You got to deal with the time that you have to do what you got. You got a little bit of money. You want to, you help other people. See a homeless person, give him a dollar or whatever. You help the brother. One of the brothers is kind of down or whatever. You help a brother in a tight situation. These are things that we do because we know eventually the Lord is going to give it back, or the Lord always, He's always going to take care of us. So, but also what life is short. So you want to have the fullness of life, you know what I mean? And life is ups and downs. You have the heartaches and the time when you have plenty and the time when you have little, right? But and it says for the outward form of this world, its presence so social and matral nature, right? Mental. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, so this is 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 31. This is the Amplified version. I'm gonna read in real quick. It says, those who use the world taking advantage of its opportunities as though they did not make full use of it, right? Because every opportunity counts. Every moment counts. Right? Because what right here it says, and they using the world as not abusing it. See, you do the things, the opportunities that you do, and you use full ability to make it count, and or as if you didn't make enough. So you're always constantly striving for perfection, right? You got 24 hours in a day, so you get up, you make your prayers, you maybe eat something more healthier in the morning, you drink your tea, you go on a walk, jog, you get to work, you know what I mean? Even it comes into what? Money, because it talks about there's another scripture that talks about mammon. Make mammon your friend, which is basically like the world. The world is a tool. Money, things, it's a tool. You have to make use of it as a tool and make it do as much as is need and necessary that it takes for you to fulfill, to be pleasing to the Most High, honorable to yourself. So you don't when you either get beamed up in the chariots, or you get unalived and sent into heaven and stand before that throne. You wanted to be said that you did all that you could. Like, hey, the Apostle Paul said he ran the full race. You want to be able to say that also as well. You made full of it. Make full use of it. For the outward form of this world, its present social and material nature is passing away. See, so this world ain't gonna dwell. It's not forever, and it's not our job to be, super into worried about this world. This world, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. So we're already making a separation, right? We're already segregated. We didn't need Trump to do that anyway. I didn't play the other chick because she was, I didn't play too much of her. Played a little bit of her in the beginning, but she was, if you go back and watch that thing, she was saying daring Trump, do segregate, because we'll if you do that, then we'll finally decide to come to ourselves. Well, why do you need him to do something to come to you? But hey, it is what it is, man. Because this thing is a fashion. Fashions come in, and fashions go away, right? Or recycle, right? Come back. It's kind of like referring to like almost like a reincarnation. Kingdoms come, kingdoms go. This is like a reincarnation or return of Esau, the one with the deadly wound that was healed, return, and he's about to pass away again. But this time it's going to be forever, right? The fashion of this world passeth away. Yeah, and this time it's going to be forever. So we're already segregated. Yeah. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 8. I'm gonna read the Amplified version first. It says, when the Most High, which the Most High is Yahweh, Yah meaning he, Hawa meaning exist, right? He exists, or some people say existing. He's existing, right? Or some people will just say the existing one, right? Because he's always existed. That's why I call him the Ancient of Days. He's always been outside of time, right? And no one's ever created him, right? But Yahweh Shai, being Yahweh, created Yahweh Shai, and Yahweh Shai created everything else, right? So it says, giving the nations, which this is, right, yeah, basically this be Yahweh Shai, created this way, right, after Yahweh created him. So when, and the Most High gave him the instructions, this is the reason why he's giving the Most High the credit, right? It's kind of like a mob boss, right? A mob boss. He's not the one who actually pulled, out the gun and unalived anyone, right? But he gives the orders, right? For good or for evil, he's the one who gave out the orders, right? You watch that movie, was it The Godfather? There's some people that come to, hey, Godfather, I need this, and there's time he does good. He'll give them some money, he'll help them with a little problem, he, help them sort of whatever going through in their neighborhood, the complaints. So for good, he's doing good on one end, as you would say, worldly good, but it's good nonetheless, right? Because you look for worldly things from the Most High, right? The breath to breathe, and you pray for a job or a car, right? Shit, heck, even maybe even a wife, right? Like the chick earlier, she was opening her mouth, which she shouldn't have been, right? She looked like some marriage material. She was really cute, really pretty. I definitely claim her for a wife. I would have, I wouldn't mind wifing her, but at the same time, she's opening her mouth, spitting out scriptures like she's trying to teach, and that's really, not necessary, for her to do. That's not good. But at the same time, it's like looking at it from a different perspective. All things are done unto edification, even when they're out of order, right? Because of what she said is the reason why I'm going into these certain scriptures about that separation, and she was kind of right. The Lord created a way for us to be, right? The Lord said, "Suffer not a woman to teach," but in her folly, right? It And I was also kind of glad she knew some type of scriptures, because it's crazy. You see people and they don't know no scripture at all. Like, that's crazy. I mean, she shouldn't have been trying to, like, she was trying to teach or anything, or trying to show she knows something, you know. But I mean, it's good she do know something, but it was all off. She went to Yah, and you know, so you know she wanted like them Yah Israelites, and you know, hey, it is what it is. But the Most High, right, the only begotten Son, gave the nations their inheritance when He separated, right? That's segregation. So the Most High already created segregation. It's you, Esau, who's trying to, what it says, heap up nations heap up people unto himself. You know, many different nations. You know, you want to be the melting pot, but at the same time, you want this great separation. You want, but really, you don't want to be separate from us. You know, you just want us to be beneath you, right? But the Lord, you know, supplanted you. You know. That's one thing I should have mentioned too on that. Using the world but not abusing it. We're using that. You know, the ability to use your so-called First Amendment right to speak, come out on the highways and the byways and to speak, right? You know, and basically that supplanted you. Now your kingdom's going down. Now I want to crash the internet and I want to do this and I want to stop them from teaching. It's too late now. The elect is pretty much, if it ain't sealed, it's about to be sealed. You know, and if it ain't about to be sealed, definitely once you push the MOTB, definitely when you come down with great wrath, it's going to draw Jake into, a lot of Jake to believe, and a lot of Jake's going to come in and be converted, right? You know, and that's going to seal it. So as soon as you come down, I believe that'll be the final sealing, because I believe it speaks about the 11th hour. A lot of people come in. That's going to be that great sealing of the elect. You know, the innumerable multitude, and 144,000. You know, so but let me just continue on. Separated the sons of man. He set the bounds of the peoples, right? All the peoples around the world, whatever nation you from. He separated, the bounds of the people according to the number of the children or the sons, right? Because it says sons, but sons really mean, it should be sons and not children, but bun or sons of Israel, right? Because the Lord's dealing with the men, right? It says when the Most High divided the nations, right? Divided your the inheritance, and you over here, Moab over here, Ammon over here, you know what I mean? Elam here. You know what I'm saying? We never were meant to mix together, right? You know? The Most High divided the nations, their inheritance, when he separated, right? Which is what did he just call that? Segregation. That's basically segregation. The sons of Adam, right? All you different nations, and set the bounds of the people, all you different nations, according to the children, right? Which really should be sons. The sons, according to the number of the sons of Israel, right? Of Yasharallah, right? So there's been segregation, and that one sister, she was right. That's our power. That's when things are going to be better, when we're separate. But ultimately in the kingdom, because the Lord prophesied wars, evils, and pestilence in this time, man. But nevertheless, it is going to bring Jake. Like I said, it's going to bring Jake closer together. I mean, it's going to bring all the Jake. There's going to be so-called blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians on one end, maybe rising up to fight against Esau. But then you got those same people who hate themselves, who will help Esau fight against you. But then you got the ones who's those Edomites who don't like they selves, or they got issues with whatever going on, and you got this divide between the Republican and the Democrats and liberal and this and that and all these different divisions, because that's what the Lord said he was going to bring. Matter of fact, yeah, so this is Luke chapter 12, verse 49. Luke 12:49. I am come to send fire on the earth. See, and that's what the Lord is coming to do. Yahweh Shai is coming to send fire on the earth, right? The Lord is coming to cleanse the earth, right? And fire is a great cleansing agent because there's a lot of filth on the earth, scum, right? Esau's being the scum of the earth, right? You got it's a different type of way. You can't just use elbow grease on scum, right? And what will I, if it be already kindled, right? Race wars, riots, different things, people being in a disarray, right? Angry, all these things that the Lord said is going to happen, man, right? Race wars, class wars, gender wars, world war, right? Man, it's across the board. That's what the Lord said. What do you think you're going to see? It says, what shall be the sign unto that coming? You know what I mean? Should be wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes in diverse places. Hey, those things are happening on the earth. So what will it if it already be kindled, right? So that's why the Lord he has to bring that to cleanse it all up, But I have a baptism to be baptized with, right? Baptism means to submerge, and the Lord's going to submerge America and hypersonic nuclear, what is that? These warheads, basically. You're going to use Poseidon, you're going to use Satan 1, Satan 2, these hypersonic missiles, these nuclear combusted missiles. Like, the Lord says, spare no arrow. Right? He's gonna be baptized, submerged in fire. America is, right? The earth shall melt with fervent heat. Right? The world as you know it is finished. It's done. And how am I straightened? Right? Right? And which is going to be a place of difficultness. Things are going to be straightened. It's going to be a difficult thing going on until it be accomplished. So it's going to be a lot of difficult things going on the earth until these things be accomplished, right? And then there should be no more war in the world, right? Because the Lord said it has to be. It's a day like none other. You've never had hypersonic nuclear missiles flying from one end of the earth into the other, right? The closest thing you had to that is the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and it didn't get shot. They had a plane and it dropped it over the B-2 bomber or whatever it was. That was the closest. But when everybody has nukes and everybody hates America, so there's going to be more. The Lord said, like I said, I'll get back to spare no arrows. And it's going to get baptized, submerged in fire. That's the Lord's will, and that's how it's going to get it, and it shall be accomplished. Suppose ye that I come to give peace on earth, man. So this is the Lord. He's coming to bring peace. This is Cesare Borgia, right? This long hair hippie, peace, brother, peace. Let's just smoke a togie and everybody just chill out. Nah, the Lord ain't about chilling. He ain't no Edomite, man. The Lord is a woolly-haired, dark-skinned man who loves justice, who loves judgment, right? And the wicked, though hand joining hand, the wicked will not go unpunished. You're not finna go unpunished. Let's just light the peace pipe, man, and just chill. No, no. The peace pipe is to submerge, baptize this place in fire, right? The Lord is not coming to bring peace, right? You may suppose that, but you got taught wrong. You got told wrong, and you thought wrong, right? You're what I like when Pastor Hart says that, sincerely wrong. Hey man, that kind of hit me. It's like, oh, like whoa, you could be sincere, but you could still be sincerely wrong. Wow, and you're still gonna get destroyed. That's the cold part about the Most High, man. He's not a respecter of persons. You know what I mean? Right is right, wrong is wrong, right? And I tell you, nay, which means no, but rather what? Division, right? And that's the separation of the people, right? That what Trump say he wants. He wants segregation. Well, you just fulfilled the scriptures. That, and we know that we're in the end times. We're in the latter day. Even though you say you're latter day saints, and you're not looking for Yahushua to come back. You're not looking for King David to rule in the world. So you're not no true latter day saints. The true latter day saints are, well, really, the men of great millstone, right? Starting with the elders and apostles on down, and also the men with the like mind doctrine, the affiliates. Even though the apostles say he ain't really dealing with affiliates, but hey, the work still has to be done, right? What it says, the work is ask for more workers, for the work is plenteous, but the workers few. Man, it ain't that many people out here seeking righteousness, man. Especially for you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, which is actually it's meant for you. That's the great separation that we need to have anyway, But that's what the Lord's bringing anyway, because you people are going to implode on yourselves. You Egyptians, right? So-called self-proclaimed so-called white people definitely hate Jakes, and they hate Jake in all varieties, right? Starting with the so-called black man, but he hates the Mexicans, he hates the Native Americans, but he'll tolerate them a little more than he do Jake, and then especially if they decide to help him in his plight, in his fight, because he wants to hold on to his kingdom, right? And then the crazy thing about Jake is they want to hold on to his kingdom too, but the whole thing is you got a bunch of racist Edomites who's going to be mad at the elite, mad at the thing, and then they don't. You know what Edomites always do when they're upset? They look to take it out on Jake. It shows you that doing that the Charlie, at the thing that happened at that college. Edomite comes in and unalives him, and they go to some type of black college and started unaliving so-called black people, which are really Israelites, right? All over something that didn't have anything to do with them, right? Even that movie, was it called? I want to say Gangland, but it's not Gangland, but it's Gangs of New York. That's right. And that Edomite, the Edomites, the Irish, and I don't know if they were Italian or whatever they were. It was an Edomite thing. But in the midst of the Edomites, or their two Irish, I think they're two Irish people, different sects or whatever it was, but they were like some Edomites at the end of the day, right? Which we know some of the Irish are Jake, but some of them are actually just Edomites, man. And in that they had their own plight against themselves. But even in the movie, it showed they went over there, started unaliving Jake for no apparent reason. You know what I'm saying? But that's what they're gonna do. This is their chance. Yes, I get to kill niggas. I don't go to jail. Because it's gonna be lawlessness. Anarchy. Now I get to kill some niggas and not go to jail. Hey man, today must be my birthday. That's how they feel. They can't wait. But the Lord is setting it up that way because all you people are drunk off this place right here. This Egypt, this America, this Babylon, right? And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, right? The so-called white man against the black man, but also so-called black man against the black man, so-called white man against the white man, the so-called Mexican man against the Mexican man. This thing it's going to be straight up what division, right? You want division, you got it, right? You're gonna have it, right? And they shall fight everyone against his brother, right? See, your own brother, you fight that. You're related to your brother, right? You're related to your neighbor, right? Straight up, another Edomite is your brother. Another so-called black man, so-called black man is your brother. So-called Mexican man, so-called another Mexican man is your brother. So-called Native American man is your brother. So on and so forth. But what? It's what the Lord said. He's bringing what? The vision. He's coming to for judgment, man. Right? Esau think he's doing this all in his own fluidity, but really it's all the spirit and the power of Yahweh, man. He just said he's bringing division. So this is all going to happen right? They fight, everyone shall fight, everyone, they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So you just had that thing with Trump wanted this Greenland, and they said all these different Edomites was like, oh no, we're gonna, hey, Edomite against Edomite, Russia against America, Edomites against Edomites, Elam against Elam, Moab against Moab, all sorts of stuff, man. Moab against America, America against North Korea, right? North Korea against South Korea, man, bro. It's going down, man. All sorts of influx of chaos and it's going to be that time. The Lord's not coming to bring peace, but what? Division, right? And the spirit of Egypt, right, as America, which we already see that now. It's what? Shall fail, right? And it's failing now, right now. In the midst thereof, and I will destroy the council, which there's no council going on right now. Right? It's not sound decisions happening right now. Right? Who's ever counseling Trump and the things he's doing, they're going about it all wrong. But then at the same time, for our benefit, for Lord willing, the hopeful elect, right? Lord willing, I'm a hopeful elect that I can be an elect, Lord willing. You know. Hey, it's sound. That's good for us. It's unsound decisions. It's sound for us. It brings on. The scriptures are jumping off the pages, right? The counsel thereof, and they shall seek their idols, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. There's different enchantments, and I want to, because a lot of this stuff, them bringing out the Epstein list and saying this and saying that. That's an enchantment. Keep you busy, keep you occupied, thinking about something else. Meanwhile, they're passing out little laws. Meanwhile, they have these construction people putting down lines and different things so they can have the grid ready for surveillance. While you're paying attention to the Super Bowl, they're putting down things for surveillance, total control, right? Preparing for the MOTB, the mark of the what. That's whether that you can't buy or sell unless you have that mark, which we know it's the micro C-hip, man, right? It's gonna be in your hand or in your forehead, whether right hand or left hand. You know what I mean? And those you may play a simple game and say, well, the Bible only said right hand, so I'm gonna get it in my left hand, and play a silly game, and you're gonna get silly prizes. Because what? Because that in itself is an idol, right? And they shall seek their idols. So that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get the micro C-hip, trying to be saved. You're gonna seek your idol and to the charmers, like a charmers, and to them that have what? Familiar spirits, right? The AI got familiar spirits, right? AI speak to each other, came up with their own language, their own gibberish, right? Man, different spirits, witches and warlocks, and it's crazy to the familiar spirits and wizards, right? It says and Egypt will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, right? Which is Donald Trump, right? He's making all these decisions, these crazy, wacky decisions, but they all fit in the narrative as far as the Lord. Because what? It's bringing what? Division, right? Right? It says, a cruel Lord and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith Yahweh, said the outer one, right? Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai of hosts. Yeah, so this is Isaiah chapter 59, verse 1. Behold, which means fix your eyes, look, pay attention. Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, hand is not short. It's not shortened, Shalakia, that it cannot save, right? The elect, right? That's who it's going to save. It's not, the Lord's not coming to save everyone. He's coming to save the elect through all this calamity and things and the fighting, right? This separation. He's going to save the elect. His hand is it's not shortened that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy that it cannot hear. He's going to hear the cries of the elect, in which that's what we're doing now through these digital epistles. And we're crying of our prayers, in your prayer closet alone. You driving in your car, you do your prayer. You're in the shower, you do a prayer. Wherever you can do a prayer, you make sure you pray, man. You know what I mean? You know, but your iniquity have separated, right? See, the true separation is your people's iniquity. Started with Esau, Edom, but you Jakes, because ultimately this is talking about Jake, right? But even Esau, right? From the garden, right? When he was Cain, right? He gave up a BS sacrifice. Sacrifice wasn't acceptable, and he's angry. He's angry about that sacrifice to this very day, right? That same spirit came into Esau, and Esau's descendants are the Edomites, and the Edomites are these self-proclaimed so-called white people ruling today, right? And there's been, like I said, it's been a great separation. A gulf has been set between the Edomite and especially the righteous Jake, right? But the elect, because it's a separation between the elect and the Israelites. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? There's an Israel, right? Which they're like Apostle always say, the elect, but there's an elect within the elect, and we're separated from them, right? With the rest of you people, you're in this world. You're the Egyptian that's going to come against the Egyptian. But your iniquity have separated between you and your power, right? So you're talking about you Israelites. So you don't really want to come back. You want to hold on and be Egyptologies and Moteps and Hoteps and Islam and Buddha and the greatest drug dealer and you want to go to the greatest Diddy parties and this and that. You want you mean you wanted to go back to days where things are not getting exposed, but the Lord that exposure causes what? Separation, and it shows your sins, which separate between which your iniquities have separated between you and your power, right? So you're out there gangbanging, drug dealing, prostituting, doing whatever you're doing, right? Moism, man with man, woman with woman. Those that's a sin, right? But you're gonna keep doing it, which that's a heavy demon in itself. I get it, because you can't help but to do it because you've been given over to that unclean spirit, and now you're a slave to it. But I mean, through prayer, you can, and if the Lord's dealing with you, you can come out of that homosexuality, you can come out of that lesbianism, if the Lord's dealing with you. I mean, because that's a heavy spirit to come out of, because you're basically a slave to it. You know what I mean? If you do drugs, you can wean yourself off of drugs or go into detox, but you can't detox yourself from a demon that just takes over your every emotion and then use it against you. You can't help but to fall right into sin, to be separated. But you did that to yourself, because your iniquities, right, have separated between you and your power, and your sins have hid His face from you. See, and that you need to seek the Lord. You need the Lord's mercy in this world, in this end times, because it's going to be death and destruction on a heavy level, man. You want to get out of whatever you into, drug dealing, gang banging, robbing banks, whatever you into. You mean, even if you just simply just going back and forth to work and you're not doing it, if you ain't serving the Lord, you ain't seeking the Lord's face. Hey, his face is hidden from you. So there's no mercy. There ain't no mercy if the Lord's face is hidden from you. You're going to need mercy in this time. It's going to be a day like none other, right? Yeah, have hid his face from you that he will not hear you. See? And oh Lord, help me, Lord. Hey, you didn't think about changing your life. When the brothers came up to you and said, hey, man, we the Israelites, man. Look at this Deuteronomy 28:16. Don't that make sense? It makes so much sense, right? Here's this, look, Giorgio Chessino created the letter J. Here it is, show you. Letter J is only 400 to 500 years old. His name ain't JC, it's Yahweh Shai, Right here, you see that Yahweh Shai has what? Hair of wool and feet. That's what the color of bronze is if it burnt to the furnace. Here it is. It was a Daniel 7:9. It says even the Ancient of Days did sit and his hair was of pure wool. So we know that that's us. So we say, hey, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, come back to your power. Come back. Nah, you want to be super Latino, you want to be super Native American, and then you even got these Jakes that realize that a lot of the Jakes who look Black are actually Native, which we said that already. We said that a lot of you are most likely, you're most likely Gad at some point. But you're wrapped up in you being Gad, and no one's giving you any attention of showing that you want to declare that you are a Native American. Well, this place is about to get hit with missiles, man. Just recognize you're Israelite, serve the Lord, and you know. Hey, let me keep going, Lord willing. I'm going to end out with this. For your hands like, wait, I forgot. So let me see. Wait, let me get back. And your sins hid his face from you. Yeah, that he will not hear. Yeah, okay, I did that. So like, yeah. For your hands are defiled with blood. And so you got a lot of Jakes, so-called Black, Hispanic, Canadians. You know, you're unaliving each other for little to nothing. Even with all the stuff that went on, even after the CV-19, after being locked down, that should have been like, damn, we need to get together. This you should have known, man. This system is against us. Now Jake went out there and wilded harder, man. Defiled, yeah. Your hands are defiled with blood, and your fingers with iniquity, right? Doing all sorts of vile things. You know what I'm saying? Putting your fingers in all sorts of things. You know, I'm gonna sell a little drugs here. I'm gonna do a little pimping over here. You know. Matter of fact, I know one of them congressmen. I could donate to him, and then put one of these dudes as president, and I'm gonna vote for him when the scripture says that you're not supposed to have anyone that's not of your brethren to be king over you. You know, you got your hands in all sorts of things, your fingers in all sorts of things, and it's really just to perpetuate your oppression. You don't really want to get out of this. You know, you get mad that there's racism, but you're not truly willing to get out of your oppression. Just to say that there's racism means nothing. You need to be able to get out of your oppression, and this Yahweh seeking His face is the ultimate way to get out of this oppression, right? But let me keep on going. It says, yeah, your fingers with iniquity, your lips have spoken lies, right? And yeah, you know you've done that in all sorts of ways, lies, and your tongue have muttered perverseness, right? Yeah, all sorts of yeah. You nigga, prove that you an Israelite. Prove it. I don't believe in that. Whatever God, you know what I'm saying? There ain't no way ain't no way God is black or something. I don't know. Jake could say some weird, wild stuff, some perverse stuff, man. Perverseness, man. Of course, Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai is what they would call, right, layman's term, a black man, right? But overall, he's the king of the Hebrews, the king of the Hebrew Israelites, not the Hebrews, but the Hebrew Israelites, right? Right. So with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachah HaKodash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To your sisters, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence and above all, Kwam Yasharallah.